So it's February 1987, and the man whose name you heard about, Norman, of course, but Mikhail Gorbachev decided to have a conference for Western progressive intellectuals. So my husband, Stephen Cohen, and I set off, and Norman and Norris and about 1,500 others were invited. There were panels and fierce debates and a reception for 2,000 in the Kremlin, starring Gorbachev. About 1,997 people encircled Gorbachev, and I remember Norman couldn't get near him or through the crowd to meet this man who he greatly admired. Norman didn't like this. He liked to be the center of attention. So he suddenly told us he was leaving. He was heading back to the hotel miles away. And he stomped out into the snowy gray afternoon. No map, there were no Google guides. We were all worried. Norris was beside herself. But a few hours later, there was Norman sitting in the lobby of the hotel, eager to share one observation he had made as he wandered Moscow streets, that everyone either looked like his uncle or like the old and battered boxers he knew from his local Brooklyn gym. Tonight, on this night, I would be delinquent, a delinquent daughter, if I didn't mention my mother, Jean Stein's great and long friendship with Norman and Norris. She's going to kill me because she said to me the other night that Norman taught her about line editing. I want to thank you for this award, which I accept on behalf of everyone at the nation, present and past. And very present tonight is Victor Navasky. I don't need to tell you who he's many things. He's a boxer, former editor and publisher who made The Nation an invaluable part of the culture. You know, I regret that Norman Mailer never wrote for The Nation. Many reasons. I admired his journalism, how it upended convention. And though he didn't write for us, here's what I believe Norman and The Nation share: a rebellious spirit, a hatred of conformity, a refusal to accept the unacceptable, a belief that there are no lost causes, just causes waiting to be won, and a keen understanding that patriotism, if it is love of justice for the nation, justice in its laws and structures, the right to dissent, is slandered and vilified in periods of American tribal righteousness. And like Mailer, the nation has always gotten into the ring. And when we do, we believe we punch above our weight. Now, Norman liked to agitate, disrupt, even upset people and institutions. And the nation has an unerring gift for just doing that. Unwaveringly challenging the establishment limits of the debate, whether it's on the Middle East, opposing the Iraq War from the very beginning, refusing to accept a downsized politics defined by fear and intolerance. And in this last year, warning of the danger, the folly of a new Cold War with Russia, which I believe Norman would have hated. Next year, the nation marks its 150th birthday. Born in the ashes of the Civil War, founded by abolitionists. And when we've done our work right, I believe the nation has played the role that Martin Luther King Jr., the nation's civil rights correspondent from 1961 to 1966, once described this way: there comes a time when you have to stop being a thermometer and become a thermostat that transforms the mores of society. And at our best, the nation's writers or journalism have been that thermostat. We've incubated young, up-and-coming writers, those who push the envelope, as Norman did, and violate sacrosanct boundaries and unleash new ideas, arguments, and imagination. Let me close by returning to Moscow, the city Norman roamed that cold afternoon in 1987, and raise up the importance of risk-taking. Earlier this month, my husband, Steve, and I spent nearly 5 hours interviewing Edward Snowden, who, as you know, is exiled in Moscow. The interview will run in this week's Nation. At great personal risk, Snowden has sparked a transformative debate about mass surveillance and its abuses. America needs risk takers. It needs change, and change doesn't come without risk takers, those who believe in and support risks and its takers, whether it's the risk of testing new literary forms, which Norman always did, or the risk of launching a dissenting independent magazine a century and a half ago. By the way, I would have loved to read Norman Mailer on Edward Snowden. And I suspect Norman Mailer would have been entranced with Snowden's story. At The Nation, we accept this honor with delight and gratitude, and in the abiding belief that the need for an independent, critical media seems never more urgent than in this climate. Thank you.